Man, I am getting tired of getting comments on serious ass videos of mine of nice gameplay or some jokes that people just bring up when I'm talking about something pretty damn serious. And specifically in the video, I say it's not funny, it's not a joke, and then somebody brings it up as a joke. Either because they didn't actually watch the video, the whole thing at least, and they're making themselves look like a fool. So from now on, even though I've mentioned this, I've even dedicated a video talking about this, but you know what? I feel like in every fucking commentary when I start a commentary, I'm just gonna let you guys know, don't comment without watching my video at all, because you will make yourself look like a fool, because I guarantee you the things I say, it's like a quiz, because if you're gonna like say something, I'll automatically know if you watched it or not. Honestly, I will know. So, how about you save yourself some time and not be subscribed to me and click on my videos and feel like you are obligated to comment or to like it or whatever. I don't give a shit about likes, honestly. I give a shit about feedback, about what you guys think. I don't want you guys to half-ass it, because if you're just gonna write nice gameplay, I don't care about that. Like, oh. Yeah, okay, that's what you think and all, but that's not the point here. My objective is to get you guys to think, not to be silly and be like, oh yeah, make jokes about it, lol, 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 lol. It's not funny. And you know what? There are times during the day where I feel like calling people out, and I will. Sometimes I don't, because I just feel like you're not worth it. It depends on how I'm feeling. So you never know if I'm going to call you out or not, and if you don't want that embarrassment, don't watch the video like halfway through and then say something and then stop watching. Don't even bother to watch my video if you don't care. Honestly, I don't care if you don't care. I mean, I kind of do, but that's up to you in a sense. Like, okay, if you don't care that much, then fine. I've tried. Whatever, it's just a YouTube video. You don't have to care. But anyways, I do have a serious ass topic for you guys, and I just spent like 2 minutes talking about that. Well, I feel like it's needed. So, anyways, this topic was suggested by a really amazing friend. He's been a long time subscriber too. His name is Ray. XX legit bullet XX or Itemex. Itemex? Yeah, something simple without the X, I guess. Ray, he asked if I could commentate about suicide or committing suicide, or even just the idea of it, or I don't know what specifically he wanted to talk about, but I know he gave examples of 2 of his really good friends that thought about it and maybe even attempted. And I'm not going to say names, obviously, but if those 2 people are watching, please don't get angry at him. He only cares, and he just wants to hear my opinion on it, and I'm going to give it to him. And so for people who are actually listening right now, and you kind of care about what I think about suicide, and maybe you guys have thought about committing suicide, or, you know, the whole, oh, I'm going to kill myself, even though you say you don't mean it. But, like, why do you say that? You know, I mean, I say it. I still do. No joke. I still do. Like, when I'm like at that point where I'm just like that pissed off or that upset, I say, oh my god, I'll fucking kill myself, just kill me, I don't want to be in this class, or something like that. That's just a way of being a jokester, which is kind of weird, but we all say that, okay? But committing suicide, I'm gonna get into it, man. Okay, I'll try not to make it super long, but it's still a hard thing for me to grasp too. But I noticed that, like, obviously, okay, let's break it down. What are the things that make people even think about it or even want to try to kill themselves? Bullying is probably the biggest one, especially for kids, teenagers, even young adults, and sometimes even adults. And we all, I'm pretty sure, have been bullied, or if you haven't, then that's cool. Good for you. But for those who have been, this is, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And those who haven't, you can be open-minded about it. So that's one. That's a gigantic one. And then economic reasons, like debt, for example. Like, oh shit, you just invested in something, perhaps. Okay, that's different. Debt, like, okay, student loans, I could say, man, I'm like 30K in debt. And let's say by the time I graduate, I don't have a decent, steady job, and then, like, interest rate goes up, and I just have to pay more and more and more, and I never really actually pay it all off, right? So I think about suicide because it's too much stress or something. And it could also be like you invest in a lot of money on something and then you lose it all. You know what I mean? Maybe gambling. And obviously, well, not, I don't know if this is obvious, but when people have their relationships end with a boyfriend, girlfriend, or a husband or wife. And if you notice, all these things are things that we blame ourselves for. You know, bullying. Oh, why am I being bullied? I'm not cool enough. I'm not, you know, maybe I'm a loser or something like that. And then debt and investments and stuff you put your own time into are your decisions. And you kind of get pissed at yourself for making decisions like that if it goes downhill. And then relationships, you know, it takes two to make it work, and if one doesn't feel it anymore, you automatically blame yourself and you feel that, oh, what could I have done? Or like, you just are pissed and you're upset and you know, think about suicide. So those are like the main things that I could possibly think of. And of course there are probably a lot more because everybody has their own reasons and specific reasons. So I understand that. But these things, when we think about these things and when we do these things, like make decisions, end relationships, or we get bullied, it causes pain, right? Obviously, pain either physically or emotionally, or even sometimes mentally. So, you know, those three are the biggest things ever for human beings. Physical, emotion, mental. Biggest things ever. So, when we feel pain and sadness, we also like feel shame sometimes. And feeling shame is kind of a big one relating to committing suicide. And people, well, what I experience, like what I've been around and what I've heard from friends as if in like their experiences, you know, people I care about, people I don't even really know, when they share their experiences, it could be in a classroom environment or reading or, you know, whatever's on the internet possibly. I wouldn't rely too much on that, but it's a big resource. So all of those things, I just, from my experience, I can't speak in another sense because I'm only me, but in my experience, those who commit suicide or even cogitate about it, that means think about it, and they actually attempt it, they don't have a support system, whether it's just one friend or two friends, 3, 4, 10, or even parents or even counselors, teachers, because sometimes people show that, okay, I'll give you some advice and then move on, as if they're not actually interacting with you. They don't actually care about you. You know, don't get me wrong, there are definitely some counselors, teachers, and therapists, and friends, and parents, of course, who actually do care about you and they want to be involved with you, even if it's their job or career, because that's what our careers are for, to do things that we love to do, help people, you know what I mean? So there are some people who try to be your support system, or those people's support system. So with the lack of that, though, that's harder because you're growing up in an environment or even being surrounded in an environment that just sucks. And by suck, I mean for you it sucks because things aren't going well for you. Things aren't happy. Things aren't like, woo, and you just don't like it and it upsets you and you kind of don't want to be there. And the first thing people can think of is to not be there, which is, you know, either run away or go do something else or commit suicide. And a lack of good resources is so hard. Like it's hard because I'm sorry to say this is really how it is. Like some people are just too into themselves and they just don't care. They just don't care enough. Okay, I'm gonna have to make a part 2 to this video, so that was just the first part. I'm gonna make a second part, like, in a little bit. So, some people just don't care for you. Sorry to say that. Some people really don't. And people are so into themselves, they're only like, oh, I gotta do this, I have my own thing to worry about, I don't got time to, like, listen to you and blah, 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 blah. Right? And there aren't enough people out there who care about somebody else's feelings. But I'm not saying there aren't ever, because there are. Obviously there are. Your own friends, possibly your parents, like I said, all the things I named, you know what I mean? So okay, let me get into part 2. You guys click on part 2 even though it's not uploaded, or just wait for it. Oh my god.